Live from the Grenadian capital, this is the GBN television news. GBN, covering you from the Grenadine Island chain to Brooklyn, New York, via the World Wide Web on www.gbn.gd.
The news headlines is brought to you compliments GUT Credit Union.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
This is the GBN television news for today, Tuesday, March 8th, 2020. I'm Beverly Telesford. In the headlines, a family watches in despair as the place they call home goes up in flames. Foreign Affairs Minister expects a report on investigation involving Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard and a Grenadian vessel that left one man badly injured. And conflict between Russia and Ukraine expected to impact Grenada's food security. Breaking the bias takes center stage as Grenada and the rest of the world celebrate International Women's Day. Let's now go over to Zia Frederick for what's happening in sports and our probe around the globe.
Thank you, Beverly, and good evening, viewers and listeners. Here's what's coming in our probe around the globe. In the region, Guyana seeks to encourage start of hemp production. And internationally, Biden bans Russia oil's imports to the U.S., while the UK will phase out Russian oil imports by the end of the year. And coming up in sports, major facelift coming for a basketball court in the south of the island. Join me, Zia Frederick, later in the newscast for the details. Back to you, Beverly.
Thank you, Zia. Details right after this message.
The first segment of the news comes to you compliments Soft Weave Bathroom Tissue.
Have you heard about the new Soft Weave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Soft Weave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue. Available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Soft Weave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
Good evening. This is GBN's News at 7. We begin on a sad note. Nothing was salvaged from a house fire in the south of the island on Tuesday afternoon as the homeowners watched all their belongings go up in flames, unaware of what caused the blaze. Chrislina John was on the scene and has tonight's top story.
3 people are now displaced following a structural fire that gutted their home in Grandans Valley, St. George on Tuesday afternoon. Fire tenders were on hand, but not early enough to save a 2-bedroom wooden structure from going up in flames just around 2:30 p.m. That left homeowners Akira Francis and her companion Miguel Philip in shock because they say they do not know what could have started the blaze as they were not at home at the time.
Without water, so I try to understand. Nothing was light, no candle, nothing. So just kind of off. Everything. Clothes, everything. You have nothing there. She don't have nothing right now. Well, we don't have nowhere to stay right now. I'm going to see if I get somewhere to stay for the night. 12 for me and her and her son.
Mother of one of the fire victims, Michelle Francis, says she was at her home, which is in close proximity to her daughters, but there was nothing she could have done to save the house. Michelle is thanking God that her house was saved and can now provide her daughter with refuge.
Don't really know what happened. I was home for the day, take a bath, go and rest for me to go to work for 4 o'clock. Me and my companion friend, and I got up to get something to eat, and he just screamed out my name, Michelle, Michelle, Princess House, Princess House. When I reached outside, the whole house was up in flames. Lost everything. Nothing was saved from the home. I start to bawl. That is the only thing I could have done, just start to bawl, because I know she have everything there, her son have everything, school clothes, work clothes, everything, and they lost it all.
NNP caretaker for St. George South, Nolan Cox, was at the scene and spoke of the immediate assistance for the victims.
The constituency office, there is a support system in place in cases where persons do not have any place to reside. In the meantime, we do offer support for rent on a short-term basis, temporary basis, while after we have the police report, we have a speedy recovery in terms of the rebuilding for those persons who are impacted by fire. In this case, I'm certain that they do not have any clothes to wear, so those responses will have to be quick. We'll have to do something this evening so that they can have a change of clothes if they can't get from family members. We understand the impact of this, and we're going to provide all the support that we can where necessary for them to recover as quickly as possible.
One of Grand Lake's utility poles was also affected. The crew was at the scene to ensure that there was no electricity in the lines. Christina John, GBN News.
The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard has reportedly launched an investigation into an incident at sea last week that has left one Grenadian needing surgery. As Foreign Affairs Minister Oliver Joseph anticipates the results of those findings once the investigation is complete. Rena Per-Thomas has this follow-up report.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Oliver Joseph says he has reached out to his counterpart in neighboring Trinidad and Tobago, which has prompted an official investigation following reports of physical assault of a Grenadian crew aboard a trading vessel at the hands of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. Last Friday, GBN reported that 8 on the Rainier, which sails to Trinidad and Tobago on a weekly basis to conduct trade, were confronted by Coast Guard officers last week. They say one crew member was seriously injured and now requires surgery. After receiving complaints from the boat's owner, Keith Joseph, the minister says he immediately reached out to his regional colleagues.
This is a vessel that ply the route between Grenada and Trinidad on a regular basis. And unfortunately, this incident took place. When the matter was drawn to my attention, I called the authorities in Trinidad, and I spoke to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Trinidad, who gave me the assurance that an investigation has been launched into the incident because they are treating it very seriously, and therefore they are doing a full investigation to ascertain what has happened on that day.
Minister Joseph indicates that he expects to be updated on the findings of the investigation as it comes to hand, as both countries share a good relationship.
I spoke to the boat owner. He gave me his side of the story. His action is to, as he informed me, that he will be taking legal action, which is his right to. I am talking to government based on our relations with Trinidad. We have good friendly relations, and therefore the Trinidad government, as I said, is extremely concerned about the incident. It's only a few days ago it took place, so we have had no update since then on the investigation, but he promised to keep me posted on the progress.
The Foreign Affairs Minister believes this incident is an isolated one, which is not likely to affect the trading system established between the neighboring islands.
No, I think it's an isolated case. As I said, we have many vessels going up to Trinidad on a weekly basis from St. Vincent, and Trinidad really depend on these fruits and vegetables from Grenada and St. Vincent arriving in the market and supplying the needs of the Trinidad population. So the government of Trinidad see that as an isolated incident, and they will like the trade to continue just as before. And we too in Grenada, we like to see the trade continue, so we do not see that in any way being an obstacle to our trade.
Trinidad Coast Guard has been under the microscope recently for the death of an infant after Coast Guard officers opened fire on a boat carrying Venezuelan immigrants last month. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
A Grenadian agricultural specialist wants Grenadians to pay close attention to the Russia-Ukraine conflict because of the food security impact it will have on the country. Agricultural Extension Specialist Dr. Tessa Barry says the region would continue to experience rising food prices and increasing costs of fertilizer products that are a key ingredient in agricultural cultivation and production. We get more in this dispatch from diaspora journalist Dr. Kellen Bob.
As the Russian invasion has picked up pace in Ukraine, with massive casualties inflicted on both sides of the conflict, some Grenadian agricultural and diplomatic experts are keeping a wary eye on the food security impacts that this conflict would have on a region that is beset with food security concerns, as well as major net importers of food and raw material. Agricultural Extension Specialist Dr. Tessa Barry, speaking as part of a round-the-table conversation on the Bub Report, revealed how and why Grenada's agricultural and food sector will not be immune from this current crisis.
As a Caribbean region, and by extension, all of the sub-regional islands, we are net importers of food. That's one, and that's one of our vulnerability when it comes to food security. And being net importers, it therefore means that we are easily affected by external shocks, and one external shocks being that of the impact of war. We basically have to speak about our input supplies and where we get most of our input supplies from in terms of production, for crop production. Most of our fertilizer, and so Russia, Ukraine, quite a significant percentage of the input supplies come from this part of the region. So just looking at it from that, you can see that all of the pillars of food security would be directly affected. So we're talking about food availability, food access, even food utilization and food sustainability would in some way be severely affected.
Barry added that the current volley of Western sanctions against Russia, which is one of the world's largest producers and exporters of fertilizer and related raw materials, including urea, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and ammonia, would significantly affect Grenada's ability to source these materials for agricultural cultivation.
But when we identify trading with these areas, a lot of the raw materials that are used in some of the other products that are exported to other parts of the region would come from there. So putting sanctions on them means therefore that you cannot trade with them. If you cannot trade with them, you therefore have to find other sources of those raw materials, which would probably significantly impact on the prices, the increase on the prices of those raw material, or scarcity. We talk about the supply and demand. The aspect of supply and demand in economics. If you have scarcity of the raw materials needed for the other products, then therefore it would definitely impact prices.
Both Russia and Ukraine are considered the breadbaskets of Europe, and the ongoing conflict, in addition to the sanctions levied against Russia, will cause major food security fallouts for Grenada and the Caribbean, especially as the region imports between 2 to 2.5 million metric tons of wheat and corn annually. Reporting from Washington, D.C., this is Dr. Kellen Bubb.
A prominent religious leader has added his voice to growing concerns about the issue of violence among young people, and he is cautioning that now is not the time to be pointing fingers, but rather a time for everyone to get involved. He has been speaking with Chrislina John on the issue.
Train up a child in the way that they should go is one of the quotes that have been misconstrued, according to Dave King, pastor of the River Sally Pentecostal Church in St. Patrick.
We have seen recently youths fighting with police, and I'm standing here trying to try the case to decide who is right and who is wrong. But just to say that this is not the way to go. I also want to stand here to condemn the recent spike that we've been having in young people just having to feel that the way out is to get rid of the other person.
Pastor King was speaking in light of the recent spike in youth violence in the country. Now is not the time, he says, to be pointing fingers, but rather a time for everyone to get involved. This, Pastor King says, is not a government problem, neither is it a school problem, but rather a national problem.
And everything points back to the home, which means that as parents we have to rise up and we have to play our part at this time in helping our children. I think what we have seen over the past is that parents running away from their responsibility and wanting the government to shoulder the responsibility, wanting the school to shoulder the responsibility. But at the end of the day, it boils back to the home as to the kind of values that we instill in our young people.
Based on observation, Pastor King said there seems to be some semblance of gang culture pushing its ugly head into communities.
Areas, some parts of the island where it seems as though we are going back into these things where little gangs seem to be coming up again. And as I am speaking to you, I myself, I have been engaging a number of young persons in trying to talk them out of it and to get them to do things that are positive and to move away from the whole area of violence.
He also addressed those involved in the art form, especially singers, that the lyrics should emulate positivity, something young people can look forward to that does not promote violence. This was his message to the youth.
You would want to apologize to young persons who have lost their lives as a result, and to also take the opportunity to say to young people throughout the length and the breadth of Grenada, including Carriacou and Petite Martinique, that the way to solve issues and problems is not the way of violence, but to be able to look for ways and means as to how you can deal with disputes. You don't need to be going to school and to be going to school with a knife in your bag. What is your intention?
Pastor King also took the opportunity to endorse the person behind this year's Independence theme, overcoming adversity, safeguarding livelihoods, and protecting our future, as a way of reaching out to the youth, showing them a better way out. Chrislina John, GBN News.
This is Primetime News. Coming up, a call for community unity is being made as another official notes the prominence of youth violence. Stay with us.
Good day, Mr. James. I'm just here looking at Grenlec's new mobile app.
Sounds great. Can I use it to check my bill balance?
Absolutely. Let me show you. Enter your account number and Grenlec access number, and that's it. You can now check your balance, track your usage, receive outage alerts, and get updates from Grenlec in real time. You can even use the app to report a power outage or a fault with a pole or street light. Add as many accounts as you want. Track your business account, apartment rentals, and Granny's account, all in one convenient place.
Thanks, Susan. I'll be telling everyone I know about Grenlec's new app.
The Grenlec mobile app. Download for 24/7 access.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thinking about your new home? Think easy. Think of Republic Bank Home Easy Loan. Think affordable. Think convenience. Think Republic.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3. Republic makes home easy.
Wow, that was such a breeze.
Own your home with ease.
So whether laying that first brick or purchasing an existing home, we've got you covered. Republic Bank will get you those keys hassle-free in no time.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Drop by any one of our 8 locations today. Getting your new home is easy with Republic Bank.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Sunday, March 13th is Bingo Night. Get set for another massive Waggity Virtual Bingo.
And this time you can win
US $10,000. Tickets are only $10 US. In Grenada, tickets are available from numerous box offices island-wide. If you're playing from overseas, tickets are only available at gotofet.com. Sunday, March 13th. Come join the fun and excitement online.
Play Waggity Virtual Bingo.
The new way to play. Bingo!
I've been a member of the Ariza Credit Union since 2016, and honestly I joined to come out of poverty. What I love most about Ariza Credit Union is their support in helping us as members to save. I was in the credit union like a little under a month. The sewing machine that I had went bad, and I was in desperate need of, purchasing another. I simply went to speak to my loan officer. I wanted to know details of how to go forward. How do I become qualified to get a loan? And the next thing I knew, she said, how much money do you need? And at that time I needed $7.99. And she said, I'll loan you the money. And from there I purchased the sewing machine, and this is the result. As a young person, we all have those little achievements in the back of our mind that seem so far-reaching. What Ariza encourages us to do is to save. I'm really happy, honestly.
GBN leads, the others follow. This segment is brought to you by Republic Bank.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Thinking about your new home? Think easy. Think a Republic Bank Home Easy Loan. Think affordable. Think convenience. Think Republic.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3. Republic makes home easy.
Wow, that was such a breeze.
Own your home with ease.
So whether laying that first brick or purchasing an existing home, we've got you covered. Republic Bank will get you those keys hassle-free in no time.
Home is easy as 1, 2, 3.
Drop by any one of our 8 locations today. Getting your new home is easy with Republic Bank.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome back to the news at 7. As the issue of violence among young people continues to be prevalent, one politician has reiterated the need for a community approach to help guide the nation's youth. Joseph Kador explains.
The National Democratic Congress caretaker for the town of St. George, Claudette Joseph, has reiterated the old adage, it takes a village to raise a child, as she commented on the prevalence of acts of violence by young people over the past few weeks.
We know the old African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And the people that we put in charge of our affairs, in terms of this at the state level, they have a responsibility to help the village, to help the community to raise our children.
Joseph says having community centers that promote social activities can provide a holistic experience for grooming the younger population. She says in order to achieve this, team effort is needed.
the majority of our children are born or residing in families with one parent, mostly the mother. In rare instances, it would be the father, but the majority of them would be the mother, almost all. All right? And so, as good a person and as good a parent as one can be, we need the community to help us raise our children. And one way of doing that is to have common spaces for our children, community spaces, so that they can learn social skills just by interacting with each other. They can learn discipline, self-respect, respect for others, respect for other people's property, respect for authority, respect for institutions. And they can do that by interacting with adults in those community spaces.
Violence among young people, including school children, has been in the limelight lately following a number of videos circulating on social media highlighting altercations among young people. Joseph Kador, GBN News.
As the Spice Mass Corporation rolls out its plans for the return of the country's premier cultural event, a major chance is coming for what takes place on Carnival Sunday, as the recently named chairman of the board announced the return of a traditional event. Details in this report from Blossom Alexis Welsh.
Traditionally, years gone by, the night before Carnival, families prepared food in their yards for the Canboulay dinner. This event was a family feast that continued until 4-day morning on Juve morning. Now, it's a somewhat forgotten tradition, but Chairman of Spice Mass Corporation, Arlie Gill, disclosed the idea of making Carnival Sunday Canboulay Sunday once again.
You know the history of Canboulay? Canboulay patois, meaning cane burning. In Grenada, on Carnival Sunday, all across the country, you have food cooking and drab preparation. All done. Pea soup. Pea soup is really the gravy of the Canboulay. So, we want to bring that aspect of Grenadian culture to the national stage. The spontaneous cooking on the block, pea soup cooking, oil down cooking, brown down cooking, jab cooking, figure and saltfish, whatever the dishes are. Jab preparation, man painting their horn, cleaning their gear to play jab.
Speaking during the media launch of Spice Mass 2022 on Monday, Gill says Canboulay centers will be registered across the island, and the intention is to judge every center and award prizes for the first 3 places.
Each Canboulay corner will be judged by the variety of Grenada dishes. We want to have dishes local, not chicken and fries, please. We want local, authentic Grenadian cooking and Grenadian cooking on wood.
To facilitate the reintroduction of the tradition, the March Gras will now be held on what was originally Majestic Thursday.
This year, we're moving the Calypso finals, taking it out of the Sunday night. We're bringing it on the Thursday, the 4th. We're taking Queen Show night and put Calypso there. And the other thing we're doing, we're changing the venue too. We're going Grenville. Why? Because we believe St. Andrews, St. Patrick's, and Upper St. David's catchment, Latant, and so on, have a strong Kaiso population. And let's go to them.
The Carnival Queen Show, which was traditionally held on Majestic Thursday every year, will now take place on July 27th. According to Mr. Gill, this will allow the newly crowned Queen a longer reign during the season. Blossom Alexis Welsh, GBN News.
The Minister of Social Development, in celebrating International Women's Day today, visited several communities in St. George to launch an initiative that would help women and families. More in this Rena Perry-Thomas report.
This year's International Women's Day campaign calls on people to work towards a world that is impartial, inclusive, and free from bias and discrimination, so the playing field is leveled for women moving forward. Annually, March 8 is carded as International Women's Day, a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievement of women. International Women's Day is one of the most important days of the year to celebrate women's achievements, raise awareness about women's equality, lobby for accelerated gender fairness, fundraise for female-focused charities. The theme this year is Break the Bias, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. The Ministry of Social Development in this regard visited homes in the south of the island to wish women a happy International Women's Day, while at the same time gaining information that will improve the ministry's services. Carisha Cyrus, parenting facilitator in the Department of Gender and Family Affairs, explains.
So we're looking to go around into the communities of Grandlands Valley, Montu, and later on this evening into Willis, where we're trying to connect with families or individuals, probably find out what issues are happening within the communities. Normally people will say, okay, we come in, we talk, but this time we're trying to do something different for 2022, where we don't just come in and get the information, but we're trying to come back, see if we can set up where we can run something like a cycle to help individuals and strengthen and empower family life within the communities. One of our slogans we have is I can, you can, and we can, connecting families together. And we want to encourage individuals, persons within society, regardless of what challenges may we encounter. Our community is one of the places we start in creating a safe home, safe children, a safe space for your family.
The parenting facilitator spoke of other communities they will be visiting in the coming days.
And on March 30th, we're looking to target the area of Telesford in St. Andrews, where we're going to dive in again into these areas, recognizing whatever issues it may be, juvenile delinquency, housing, person who maybe requires seed, what else? Any form of inter-partner violence within the home. We're looking to target these people to see where we as a division, a ministry on a whole, can help.
Cyrus says the intention is to continue with this initiative on a regular basis in various communities across the island.
For now, we're looking at to do it every month within a community, and we also want to, once we target a community, we want to stay there for a period of time. Maybe probably 12 weeks, where we can run cycles where we do something. We want to start something called gender-based violence and parenting, because regardless of what, it all starts within the home. And we want to wish every woman a happy International Women's Day from the Ministry of Social Development and Telescope, St. Andrews, St. George's. Look out for us with the white and pink t-shirt. We are coming through with into your communities to recognize the issues you have to offer for us.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
Still ahead in the news, Parliament approves legislation for the enforcement of revised COVID restrictions. That story is up next.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. Mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
What does it take to be an amazing woman? Lots of me time. Amazing women are classy, fancy, and a little sassy. It's the drink for me. Cheers! Sometimes you've got to show them who's boss. Alpha male? Nah, alpha females are more amazing. Cheers to securing the bag. We make time for ourselves, for work, friends, and we certainly make time for passion. We're simply amazing. Amazing cream liqueur for the amazing woman in you.
Southern Electrical, you get the best value, quality products, and expert advice. We are the #1 supplier of residential, commercial, and industrial electrical products in Grenada. View our latest arrivals of wall lights for interior and exterior, beautiful chandeliers, pendants, solar motion lights, kitchen appliances such as crispy air fryer ovens, crepe makers, countertop grills, and more. Visit Southern Electrical at Dusty Highway, Grandin, St. George. We also ship to Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Call our telephone number 444-3042, WhatsApp 405-4993, or browse our website www.segrenada.com.
Chapter in West Indies' biggest rivalry continues. West Indies flies against England for the Apex Test Series in 3 test matches. Tickets start as low as $20 and local residents enjoy an additional 50% discount with online purchase. Must be fully vaccinated to attend all matches, and COVID-19 protocols will be in effect. Secure your seats to the action. Get your tickets in advance at windiescricket.com/tickets. Terms and conditions apply.
Running low on groceries? Why not visit realvalueiga.com and experience our new online shopping platform? Place your order, then go out and enjoy your day to spend more time with friends and family. Delivery available within select locations or in-store pickup available. Sounds simple, right? It is. Stress less, live more with Real Value IGA online store, where good food begins.
No frills, just great prices, only at Quartz. We don't just talk about it, we've got it. Shop with confidence and save big. Up to 50% off appliances, furniture, electronics, and so much more. Plus, pay with Ready Finance and get 1 month free. Only at Quartz. Bringing value home. Special conditions apply.
This is GBN. We've got the means, the power, and the medium. This segment is brought to you by Flow.
Welcome back. 2 weeks ago, government announced that a number of COVID-19 restrictions were to be lifted, including entry requirements for coming into the country. However, the revised regulations are now ready to be properly enforced after the amendment was passed in Parliament on Tuesday. Jared Joseph has the details.
Quarantine COVID-19 amendment resolution by which any changes are enforced and given effect according to Section 4.3 of the Quarantine Act was finally tabled in the lower house of Parliament on Tuesday. On February 15th, during the weekly post-cabinet briefing, it was announced that sweeping changes were being made to the COVID-19 protocols, seemingly with immediate effect. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Taisia Donald had said it surrounded entry protocols into Grenada, accepting antigen testing within 72 hours of arrival.
I know this is a very good change for a lot of persons in the diaspora because PCR testing is very difficult to access and it has been a problem. A lot of flights have been cancelled as a result of inability to get results on time.
Parliamentary Representative for St. George South Nicholas Till during Parliament on Tuesday said the health declaration form on entry is also being simplified.
The first aspect is that it's going to ask just for simple traveler details. Name, passport number, date of arrival, and age. And it's going to ask for your citizenship because there's a separation there. After that, it simply asks you to declare whether you are vaccinated or not and whether you have the appropriate COVID-19 test.
The Health Minister notes that the regulation is now being officially enforced as the resolution was tabled, which includes the provision for the rapid antigen test with a revised timeline of 24 hours on entry.
Significance of this is that the health declaration and the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation is in the process of sending this communication out as well. That you will no longer need to present this declaration before you board a flight to come to Grenada. You will need to present this declaration or fill out this declaration before you get health clearance on arrival in Grenada.
MP for St. Mark and Tourism Minister Clarice Modest Cohen welcomes the resolution, noting that the desire to travel has once again been created and there has been an increase in visitors and hotel bookings recently.
So every country is a serious competitor in the tourism industry, and the tourists would want to go wherever the protocols are most lenient, where they seem to be most reasonable, where they more easily understood and all of that. And therefore, without any reservation, I support this resolution because I believe that it is going to make us as competitive as the others.
Leader of the opposition, Tobias Clement, also stood in support of the resolution. However, he noted he is wary of Grenada's vaccination levels. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
It's now time to take a peek through the GBN ISOR lens.
A good eye captures all. GBN ISOR is brought to you by ClearVision.
Life is beautiful if only you can see it. ClearVision Eye Center helps you do just that. We provide expert service, classy eyewear, and cutting-edge technology, all with a quality customer experience. See better, feel better, and look better. Meet us today at clearvisiongrenada.com or call 444-0055, WhatsApp 409-0055, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. ClearVision Eye Center. Let's see life and the world with a clear vision.
Featured in tonight's ISOR is video footage of a custom bicycle as it glided through the street in Grenville St. Andrew. The front fork of the bicycle has been extended, so the front wheel is further away from the body of the bike. Our ISOR reporter thought the piece was quite the spectacle and seeks a response from our viewers and listeners. What do you think? Tell us when you send your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp on 405-3052 or our other social media platforms. Stay with us. The weather is up next, and then we join Zia Frederick for the sports news.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
for your education,
for your financial freedom,
for that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Let's start the new year on a high, a detox high, because it's detox time again at Nirvana Detox Center, a natural health store. Check out our many detox packages starting from $100 or get 15% off on colonic irrigation therapy. Detoxing can help with liver and blood cleansing, weight loss, constipation, acid reflux, kidney stones, heavy metal removal, gas and bloating, and more. Call or WhatsApp us on 231-6642, 418-7115, or 449-7753. Ask about our delivery options. Visit us now. Bruce Street Mall, store number 1208, or Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area. Our opening hours are Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nirvana Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Detox your way to health. These specials ends on March 31st or while stocks last.
television and K105 FM on March 22nd and 29th from 8 p.m. for the Antillean Life Health Forum, a new focus on health, a collective approach, made possible by Antillean Life Insurance, Spice Isle Imaging Center, Gittins Healthcare, Grenada Planned Parenthood Association, Grenada Paper Products, Hubbard's Motor Department, 7 Seas, and the Grenville Credit Union.
Keeping an eye on the weather. This is GBN. We've got you covered.
Weather for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique valid for tonight and the following 3 days. Weather tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy with some light to moderate showers, mainly during the morning. Tonight's minimum temperature 25 degrees Celsius. Winds east-northeasterly to easterly at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Seas moderate to slightly rough with waves 6 to 8 feet in open waters. A marine advisory remains in effect. Tides high at 8 p.m. and low at 1:45 a.m. Sunrise tomorrow 6:20. Weather for Wednesday, March 9th, partly cloudy to cloudy with some light to moderate morning and nighttime showers. Weather for Thursday, March 10th, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with some light to moderate isolated showers. And weather for Friday, March 11th, partly cloudy with few light isolated showers. Stay with us for your sports news.
Good evening. Welcome to our Sports Roundup. I'm Zia Frederick. The final have been set as Spotlight Ballers take on Southern Elites in a best-of-3 rounds in the Grenada National Basketball Association's National Under-23 Basketball Championship. The first matchup is scheduled for Wednesday at the Labori Indoor Sporting Complex with the jump ball from 7 p.m. In the best-of-3 semi-final round over the weekend, Southern Elites defeated the Sports Solutions Tornadoes 72 points to 60 points. Leading for the Elites was Kinde Redhead with 31 points and Carlson Amede with 20 points. In the other match spotlight, Ballers defeated the West Side Warriors 78 points to 59 points. Leading for spotlight was Nelson Bernard with 21 points and Tamani Joseph with 18 points. The basketball court at the Grenada Youth and Cultural Center is being given a facelift. It is a gift from the People's Republic of China. The work entails the resurfacing of the ground, replacement of the backboard, fencing, and other requirements. Deputy Chief of Mission Yang Shijun says the work is estimated to cost $50,000.
We are going to repave the ground and rebuild the fence and also replace the basket standing, so that we hope we take this opportunity to provide a better facility to the Grenadian youth to participate in the sports, especially at this pandemic time. And let's hope that all our peoples can enjoy the facility, and we can make our joint efforts to fight against COVID-19 and also to build a better life. Normally, we, at the request of the friends or the government or the other organizations, we make some evaluation on the facility, and when we see it is good for the people, for the livelihood of the people of Grenada, and when it's within the capacity of the Chinese embassy or Chinese government, we will try our best to make our contribution.
Manager of the facility, Rona Smith, says the renovation of the basketball court would ensure that young people within the communities in the south of the island remain positively engaged.
The basketball court was damaged about 5 years ago when we had an incident with high winds. We had some tents on the ground and they were upwinded, and we damaged the fence, the court itself, and the backboard were damaged. We were able to get the fence redone. However, we've been making efforts ever since to try to get the new backboard and the fence, the ground being resurfaced. So now what has happened is that we've now been offered a gift by the Chinese embassy. So for us, it really means that our youths can enjoy the basketball court to its fullest, because we've had, over the years, we've had heavy use of the court from the basketball community, basketball clubs, individuals who just want to come out and have some recreation, bring their families. We've had schools come out, we've had some training, basketball training taking part here. So, having the court redone is significant for us in terms of us being able to provide that space so that persons can engage in the sport of basketball.
The Andrew George St. Andrews Cricket Council T20 tournament got off to a bumper start over the weekend, with several matches played in the 4 allocated venues. Beverly Cricket Club faced off against MSO Exodus at the La Portrie playing field, is what resulted in a low-scoring matchup. MSO Exodus were bowled out for just 60 runs as Shea Duncan captured 3 wickets for 9. Wayne Williams 2 for 13 and Ted Roy Hilaire 2 for just 2 runs. Tivoli reached 69 for 7, winning by 3 wickets. At Pearls Playing Field, Idlers Sports Club lost to Pearls Progressive that amassed 154 for 9 as Leon Calais scored with 55 runs. Idlers were restricted to 121 for 9 in their 20 overs. Over in Union Playing Field, Homeside Union put on a mammoth total for 218 for 6 wickets as Darren Ned smashed 71. Kimberly Joseph 44 and Dwayne Walcott 40. Despite a 5-wicket haul from our frank opponents, Hope was limited for 160 for 9. Blaze United Sports got the best pressure pumpers, who amassed 108 in 19.4 overs before Blaze United 109 for 6 in 16.3 overs. That's the sports news for now. Regional and international news are next. Tonight we begin in Guyana, where President Irfan Ali has announced that he plans to meet with marijuana farmers across the country as his government looks to capitalize on the hemp industry.
During a press conference at State House on Sunday, the president said the move to engage marijuana farmers is to encourage them to move away from cultivating the illegal drug and to turn to hemp cultivation, which can bring benefits, he said, to the country. Is considered a botanical class of marijuana that is grown specifically for industrial or medicinal use.
I intend to have a meeting very soon with all the marijuana growers in this country. I intend to have a meeting and to let them understand that there is a viable future in the hemp industry and bring them into that discussion and move away from the marijuana that has social consequences and come into mainstream economic activity that does not have that impact, that will give them more returns.
President Ali said he's firm that the hemp industry is a lucrative one, and Ghana's economy can benefit significantly once the industry becomes part of the country's economy.
And there is a great opportunity that lies ahead in terms of the hemp industry and what it can do in terms of the technological push, construction material, pharmaceuticals. I've looked at some numbers, unbelievable numbers, on return per acre. And I have a duty, the government has a duty to analyze all of this.
The president also said that marijuana farmers already have the experience, explaining that not much work will have to be done to build capacity. Earlier this year, the Vice President, Barra Jagdeo, committed the government to facilitating the planting and production of hemp in Ghana in an orderly way. There is currently no legislation in Ghana for the production of industrial hemp, and the president did not explain how this key issue will be addressed. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit has been leading a eradication exercise that has unearthed hundreds of acres of marijuana farms, especially in the Berbice area.
The UK has confirmed that it will phase out the import of Russian oil and oil products by the end of 2022, while U.S. President Joe Biden announced a ban on Russian oil and other energy imports, all in retaliation for Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
From the Secretary of State for Business and Energy, Kwasi Kwarteng. He has put this out on social media, saying the UK will phase out the import of Russian oil and oil products by the end of 2022. This transition will give the market, businesses and supply chains more than enough time to replace Russian imports, which make up 8% of UK demand. He goes on to say businesses should use this year to ensure a smooth transition so that consumers will not be affected. The government will also work with companies through a new task force on oil to support them to make use of this period in finding alternative supplies. The market has already begun to ostracize Russian oil, with nearly 70% of it currently unable to find a buyer.
Today, I'm announcing the United States is targeting the main artery of Russia's economy. We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine. This is a move that has strong bipartisan support in the Congress and, I believe, in the country. Americans have rallied to support their Ukrainian people and made it clear we will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war. We made this decision in close consultation with our allies and our partners around the world, particularly in Europe, because a united response to Putin's aggression has been my overriding focus, to keep all NATO and all of the EU and our allies totally united.
Flood warnings stretch across Australia's east coast, and tens of thousands of Sydney residents fled their homes as torrential rains again pummeled the country's largest city and several big suburbs.
Tens of thousands of Australians have fled their homes as flood warnings stretch across the country's east coast. Torrential rains have pummeled the country's largest city, Sydney, flooding the streets of several large suburbs. Nearly 24 people have been reported dead since floods in Australia began late last month. Local authorities said Tuesday a 67-year-old woman and her 34-year-old son in Western Sydney were found dead near an abandoned car in a stormwater canal. New South Wales Emergency Service Commissioner Carleen York called the flooding unprecedented.
I think what's happening I know what's happening in this event is people make decisions based on past history. And I think this event has shown that there is no past history similar to this event.
While Bureau of Meteorology forecaster Dean Naramore said more flooding was expected from Queensland to Victoria.
A tough 24 hours or even 48 hours ahead, and even if the rain does stop on Wednesday and Thursday, which it will, there's still a lot of water in these rivers.
Australia's eastern rivers were already near capacity, following record downpours in several parts of Queensland and New South Wales states over recent weeks. Those rains cut off entire towns, swept away farms and livestock, and shut down power for countless residents. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison has ordered further emergency personnel to flood-hit areas.
That's regional and international news. Beverly is next with a recap of the headlines.
And now for a recap of the headlines. A family loses everything in a fire that completely destroys their home. Conflict between Russia and Ukraine expected to impact Grenada's food security. Breaking the bias takes center stage as Grenada and the rest of the world celebrates International Women's Day. In the region, Guyana seeks to encourage start of hemp production. Internationally, Biden bans Russia oil imports to the U.S., while the U.K. will phase out Russian oil imports by the end of the year. In sports, we had best of three final in the GNBA Under-23 Championship shoots off on Wednesday at the Laborie Indoor Sporting Complex. That's the end of the GBN News for Tuesday, March 8, 2022. If you missed any part of this newscast, a repeat of it will be broadcast at 10 o'clock tonight. Continue to follow us online at gbn.gd or on GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel for these and other top stories. I'm Beverly Telesford. That's the news. Good night.
Stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we